Nelson High. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put around here.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking
Shut your
news
dirty
and
mouth,
top stories.
Lester.
You live in sexual anarchy.
This is the Control live with JustinFREAKIN.
It's gonna be hilarious if that intro was ever used as evidence against me in my trial for stalking Nancy Mace. Yes, Your Honor, that was indeed Nancy Mace hog-tied in my intro. Or we're gonna testify against me. You, my friend, made the stories. If you go and check the Twitch story, I just put it up there I thought it was hilarious that I couldn't say Nicaragua and you couldn't spell Nicaragua. So I made that into a clip. Byronic, meat cakes, Bundy's big tits over on the YouTube. Good evening. The YouTube algorithm has been shining on me this week. We didn't have a lot of dumbasses in the chat last night, but I actually had quite a few views. I was like, hell yeah. Thank you to the podcast people who have been listening to the show more and more. I see you guys. I love you guys. And yes, it is kind of weird that the podcast has changed to being fucked up news, but it still comes on and says the Troll Patrol Live. We're in a transition period. Feet pics. My feet aren't pretty, unfortunately. Meat cakes, did you get a chance to watch Dark Side of the Ring last night? I showed Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe after the stream. Come to find out, that was all a work. There was no animosity there whatsoever. I like that Flash literally called it and said it looked like Samoa Joe bent down and asked him if he was okay, and he did. That's exactly, he's like, hey, you okay, man? So that was wild. I enjoyed that one because, you know, there's not many incidents in the history of wrestling that I'm not really aware of. Modern wrestling, at least. You know, the further you go back, I'm not going to be able to tell you, hold for hold on a Hackenschmidt match or something. I still probably know more than most. But yeah, I was not familiar. I'd forgotten I even knew who Necro Butcher was until the glass in his arm. Like, oh, they covered that on the XPW episode or whatever. Gender Fluid, also a wrestling fan. Welcome in. But yeah, I was wrong. I did not know the story, which I guess nobody did until the Dark Side of the Ring last night. So I was like, this is a shoot match, I think. I don't know. But many times throughout the match, I'm like, they're working with each other. This is clearly, them working together. But apparently Joe was like, however hard you hit me, I'll give it back to you. You decide. And Necro hit him pretty fucking hard. I also didn't know Necro Butcher was blind. But it's like that Stevie Wonder blind, right? Because people are like, Stevie isn't really blind, but like he has 20% vision, 15% vision or something. So he sees shit. He's not all the way blind. Andy Biggs wins in Arizona. The House passing the National Defense Authorization Act. More Republicans crossed over to vote against it than the Democrats. Like Republicans more. More Republicans vote against it than I figured. The Thomas Massey side, which is going to be decimated here when the new Congress is sworn in. Something like 8 Republicans voted against it. 7 Democrats joined with Republicans to help pass it. Assholes. So thanks, Democrats. That one's on you guys. You 7 Democrats that voted with the Republicans. Pieces of shit, all of you. The president of the American Bar Association was in front of Congress to testify. Woman from the Smithsonian was there again today. We're not going to get into that one. We got enough of that yesterday. Mamdani reiterating he does not have the power to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, but encourages the federal government to exercise its power to enforce the warrant from the International Criminal Court. I'm going to tell you, like, guys, You may think Israel is committing a genocide, but the actual genocide is against Christians and Jews. Mr. Brainworm says so. I had to look it up, and like, is Pinky Herman a real person, or did he mean to say Pee Wee Herman? Pinky Herman, not a real person. He meant to say Pee Wee Herman. This is fucking moron. Todd Blanche finally met with Epstein survivors, or at least one Epstein survivor. Nicolas Maduro's trial date has been set in federal court. Feds detain a woman boarding a flight at the Denver airport. Hey, remember about 2 months ago, we were set to watch the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They were going to have wasn't a magician, it was an illusionist or some shit like that. A hypnotist. Something to that effect. We're going to give it another go. It's coming up on Friday. Secret Service releasing details on their investigation into the first Correspondents' Dinner that it didn't even get started. We're going to give it a go again on Friday evening. A soldier shot in D.C. by the Secret Service. Remember, we covered Secret Service taking down a person, and Secret Service shot a bystander. That bystander is suing. That bystander also happened to be a active duty serviceman. The Secret Service, he alleges, was negligent in shooting him, a active duty serviceman who was in D.C. on vacation. There was also a man killed during a police chase by D.C. Park Police. Family is demanding answers in that case. Independent autopsy done in the case of Nolan Wells. The Wells family speaking out. Wild video of a shooting rampage taking place in Nevada. 5 people drowned. In Ohio, a pastor took a picture of the apparent victims. A machete-wielding suspect was shot by cops out in Cali. Cop in, I think it was Oklahoma, arrested after his gun was found dumped in an alleyway. Couple arrested accused of keeping a 4-year-old in a closet for 12 hours a day. I don't know how to feel about this story. We're going to have to get all the deets here before I can give you an opinion. But I can say 100% the TikTokers, YouTubers, the vigilante channels that try to entrap people into what they allege are kid diddling cases, those people are pieces of shit. Can't stand it when the cops do it. I really can't stand it when people do it for internet fame. Apparently, one of the people caught up in one of these stings has been cleared by police, but that one comes back to it's not above the police to cover for a child diddler. So who knows who to believe in this one? City manager tried to escape justice on a yacht. She was caught. A lot of plane stories tonight. We have a small plane getting stuck on a roof in Texas. I believe one person died. I shouldn't make light of it. Cargo plane in Louisville scrapes a runway. This coming just, a couple of months after the UPS plane crashes at the same airport. Killed 11 people? The wreckage of a 74-year-old plane crash has been found. Man we watched get gored by a bison about a week ago. He is speaking from his hospital bed. A homeowners association has voted to remove a social media influencer that inherited a house in the neighborhood. woman moved into a house and got a water bill, apparently for the entire neighborhood. And the Supreme Court is set to take up a case the Supreme Court is set to hear a case about a whole goddamn six-pack. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening, Sports Cards. Sky Comet, Tentacle Girl, good to see you. Styles M, welcome in, friend. Meat Cakes, Gender Fluid. Byronic, did I tell you good evening? Good evening, friends. Good to see everybody. Six-pack, not X-pack. We're going by his WCW name, not his WWE name. Lenny, welcome in. It's a glorious day south of Boston. Has it cooled down some because of all the weather up and down the East Coast? We've had flash flooding in West Virginia, Texas, multiple areas. I can't even name them all off the top of my head. But I know several areas up and down the East Coast being affected by flooding. The Gulf Coast getting hit by a tropical storm. The Pacific Northwest still burning. He would tell the judges he had 2 words for them. Suck it. Voodoo, welcome in. Yeah, I'm wishing safety to you, my friend. 79 degrees and tolerable. That actually sounds pretty nice. Especially if you've got some breeze coming off of the storms in the area. Which I don't know if it's storming in Boston. I just know up and down the East Coast there has been rain. Start off with the election news from last night. As expected, Trump candidates sweeping in Arizona. Andy Biggs will be the candidate for governor, running against Katie Hobbs.
Wow. Thank you guys so much. And I think that the first thing I want to do is let's thank God for this great country that we get to get out and vote, participate.
Well, hey now, his wife is a lovely woman. If you ever decide to leave that crazy asshole, you can be my GOP mommy. I'm sorry. She kind of looks like Joni Ernst.
Paid. I am so honored that so many of you would hang around here. We've had a bit of a crazy day today in many ways, but it's so doggone good to be back in this great state, the best state in the history of the United States, which is the best country in the history of the world. So we're very fortunate, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to have the support of all of you, and I'm thankful to everybody who voted today, got out and voted. I was overwhelmed when I started seeing those vote totals come in. It's awesome.
His daughter looking like a trad wife. Did she bring her cage with her? You always need to put your trad wife in a cage so she doesn't get overly excited. Anyone watched InfoWars last week? You know what I'm talking about.
Totals come in. It's awesome. We all have to come together. I need everybody's vote to win. I need everybody's vote. And so let's unite. and as we unite and we go out.
They love their Ginnel time.
I have
Crate, I'm sorry.
We're going to win.
It was Crate, you're right.
Our message of restoring the American dream to Arizona. Our message of affordability. We have a governor that's taken us from one of the most affordable states to one of the least affordable states. We have a governor whose policies on
is that true?
Police are not supporting police, and public safety has led us. Well, every other state in the union is having a decrease in fentanyl overdose deaths. Our state has a spike in fentanyl deaths. That comes from an overall attitude of not really supporting public safety by this governor. Those are things that we have to do. We have to make things affordable again, put money in your pockets, and also make sure everybody can enjoy our great state, beautiful state, by being safe and be able to go and...
By being safe.
And the third thing is, she's attacked educational freedom. Educational freedom.
Oh my God.
If we want to succeed as a state, economically...
Just look at his daughter. That's what education freedom
We have to make sure our children...
will do to your daughters.
...they can possibly get, and that happens when parents have active roles, participate, and choice in their children's education. That's what we're going to stand for.
Girl looks like she's straight out of Little House on the Prairie.
The message resonates throughout Arizona.
We're Ingalls Wilder over here.
I know you do too, and let's make this the year that we turn Arizona red again. And build the red wall as we set the stage.
I wasn't wrong. Look at that giant ring on her finger. She's married some rich Republican asshole, and she stays at home and cooks and cleans. T-, welcome in. Hello, good to see you, friend. Meanwhile, the House passing the National Defense Authorization Act. The insane $1.5 trillion bill. Send more money to bomb kids in Iran. It is possible that the Senate does not pass this, amazingly enough. I think the final tally ended up being 7 Democrats voted yay, 8 Republicans voted nay. Things on the sconces, is that what you're referring to? Or the fascists that should be splattered against the wall? But fuck every single one of these Democrats that voted to approve this. It wouldn't have passed the House without the Democrats. Without the 8 Democrats that voted for it, this would not have passed the House. Absolute pieces of shit. And this is, once again, this is Jeffries. Keep your caucus in order, buddy. How are you going to let 7 Democrats vote for this bill? Because the Democratic leadership wanted it to pass. That's the only reason why. God damn it, you're gonna make me do the no cursing right now? Fucking fuck. Oh shit. Well, I thought we were gonna get gabbled in here. Say it passed. Come on. This is Representative Kat Kamek.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 212. The bill is passed.
I believe this is Kat Kamek from Florida. I always like to bring up that she had what's the thing with the pregnancy, and she needed to have an abortion and they wouldn't do it, and she claims like she almost died, and she blames the Democrats for fear-mongering about Roe v. Wade. It's absolutely backwards. I don't think it was epitopic. But it was some other reason, like she needed to have whatever the thing is that Republicans don't realize is actually an abortion.
Without objection.
And she blamed Democrats for it. Anonymously. I'm not sure if it was an ectopic pregnancy. Yeah, that's her. She's, I think she might be pregnant right now. That's why I didn't exactly recognize her. She was a little, bigger. Trix, welcome in. So that was her. U.S. Rep. Kat Kammick's experience trying to end a pregnancy last year, which she has been publicly discussing, makes an argument for small, limited government. Yes. Last May, shortly after Florida's Heartbeat Protection Act became law, the Florida Congresswoman suffered a life-threatening ectopic pregnancy. Okay, it was ectopic pregnancy. Okay. An embryo implanted outside the womb. The law has limited exceptions for abortions, such as if a woman's life is in danger, but they are vague. At 5 weeks pregnant, Kammick had to convince doctors to give her medication to end the unviable pregnancy. She was met with resistance from doctors and nurses because they feared prosecution under Florida's 6-week abortion ban. The hesitation could have put Kammick's life in danger. Again, she blamed Democrats for that. This is because of Democrats' fear-mongering. And not the stupid-ass law she passed. I'm sorry, I gotta reset the clock, don't I? Of course, did I tell you good evening? Who else snuck in here on me? Freedom is having a choice. Welcome in, friend. Good to see you over there on the YouTube. Parkour's finally got to reset the clock. But I had already reset it. I self-policed that time. Speaker Mike Johnson speaking on the passage, the NDAA, earlier today, the National Defense Authorization Act, if anybody was wondering about the acronym.
This was obviously a consequential week for House Republicans, but it was a very consequential week for the American people. And we've delivered once again. Americans demand a few things that are common sense. They demand secure elections. They want a strong national defense capable of countering our adversaries. They want a Congress that plays by the same rules that they do. These are not big things to ask. House Republicans delivered on all those promises and those priorities this week and then some. By way of reminder, this is what we did this week. The House Republicans passed the Clean CR to keep the government funded responsibly, the Stop Insider Trading Act that bans
can we have health care like you guys?
Individual stocks and from
love that
using their office for financial gain, the NDAA to provide a much-needed pay raise for our troops and to rebuild the arsenal of freedom. And the budget resolution that unlocks our third reconciliation bill, which of course is Republicans' best shot to get as much of the Save America Act into law as possible, in addition to funding our national defense and our farmers.
Remember that.
Support
the 7 Democrats that voted for this
election
nonsense.
We're the only team in Washington that does. Many of you doubted our success. Many of you standing around me in the Skaggle right now said, let me read you a sample of the headlines. Quote, House Republicans face final week gauntlet. Another said, Johnson's rocky sprint to recess. Another said it was Johnson's make or break week. Despite nearly every Democrat voting against everything I just read you, House Republicans delivered. Now, No.
You needed the Democrats to pass it, and I am upset that the Democrats actually helped you pass it. Because you had 7 Republicans vote against it. If it hadn't been for the 8 Democrats joining with the Republicans, it wouldn't have passed. And it's still probably not going to pass the Senate.
You like to say that major legislating can't happen in an election year? We just proved you wrong. This week we continue to deliver for the people, and we're going to continue that streak all the way through the end of this year and into the next Congress. We're increasingly confident that we will hold and grow this majority in the House. We must, because you're seeing a demonstration of the two sides, the divergent views for America. We had been saying that this was an election that was shaping up as a contest between common sense and crazy. And now it is literally, in many sectors around the country, common sense versus communism. We have done our job. We'll continue.
Wow.
Tomorrow, House Republicans will return to their districts armed with a proven track record of success and in these new legislative victories. Democrats, on the other hand, have to go home. They have to answer for quite a bit. They have to answer for why they voted against funding our troops, against funding the government, against common sense policies like voter ID and proof of citizenship, and against a popular ban on members of Congress purchasing individual stocks. We have 3.5 months to go until this election. We are going to run through the tape. We're going to continue to demonstrate here every day as we did this week. The Republicans are on the side of the American people, on the side of common sense, on the side of America. The Democrats simply are not. That's a sad reality of where we are.
I don't think you're on the side of America.
The upcoming election. We're very much looking forward to that. Thank you. Thanks.
I'm going to hammer this home momentarily, but we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and I think Republicans forgot 9/11. What is in the 1.15? I had the number wrong. I'm bad with numbers. My bad.
But then you take my 75% chance of winning and then add 66 and 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning.
The passage of an annual bill complicated by Trump's decision to join Israel in attacking Iran without congressional approval. U.S. House of Representatives passed a $1.15 trillion defense policy bill in a near-party line vote on Wednesday after Democrats refused to back the measure amid the war with Iran and Donald Trump's push to impose new restrictions on voting nationwide. A key plank of the president's plan to spend the... Well, there it says 1.5. 1.15 trillion. I mean, what's a couple of tenths of a trillion, right? On the military in the 2027 fiscal year, the National Defense Authorization Act passed the Republican-controlled chamber by a 216 to 212 vote, with all but 6 Democrats opposing its passage. 7 House Republicans. I had the numbers wrong. I'm sorry. I said 7-8. It was 6-7. Congress passes the NDAA each year with bipartisan margins. The measure's high cost seen as necessary to make generational investments in the military. But the path to enactment for this year's NDAA has been complicated by the president's decision to join Israel in attacking Iran without first seeking authorization from Congress. Last week, Senate Democrats blocked the advancement of that chamber's version of the NDAA. Protest of the war, which has flared anew after a memorandum of understanding meant to spur peace talks, collapsed. Democrats also soured on the bill after Mike Johnson, the Republican House Speaker, acceded to the demands of right-wing lawmakers and inserted into the legislation the Save America Act, a Trump-backed proposal to ban mail-in ballots and impose new identification restrictions on voters at the polls and when they register. Now, I posted it on all my socials, on the Facebook and the Twitter and stuff. The funny thing to me about the Save America Act is, honestly, which group of people do you think is more likely to have a passport? Do you think it would be liberals who are usually pretty well traveled, or do you think it would be conservatives in rural areas that probably don't leave the 2-hour radius around their home? What do you guys think? I started thinking about that, and I'm like, Here's the thing is rich people are starting to vote more Democratic. Trump has kind of turned politics on its head. Usually, depressed turnout helps Republicans. In the era of Trump, depressed turnout has actually helped Democrats. The managerial class has gone from Republican to Democrat. We're in weird times. Clinically, Fuzzy Simba, Cicero. Good evening, friends. Most Americans don't have a passport. I mean, I agree. I am not for making it harder to vote. Republicans are trying to spend millions, maybe even billions, to institute this law, which puts barriers to voting up, will depress the vote for a problem that literally doesn't exist. Voter fraud is so incredibly rare, it's considered statistically insignificant. It's something like 0.0003% to 0.000045%. I looked it up the other day. It's crazy. And when it does happen, it's usually just somebody who has moved and votes in the wrong precinct. But hey, Republicans really want to spend a lot of money, make it harder for people to vote. Wonder why. 1.15 trillion at least for defense spending. Is coming amid Trump saying we have reached a nuclear deal. Not with Iran. We have reached a deal with Saudi Arabia to allow them to pursue nuclear ambitions. Allow me to remind you, right-wingers, who told me to never forget 9/11. It was almost 25 years ago. We're coming up on it in about a month and a half. 25 years ago. That 15 of the 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, and they flew planes into the World Trade Center. But sure, let's let them pursue nuclear ambitions.
After the United States went to war to stop Iran from advancing its nuclear program, the U.S. is reportedly inking a deal to allow Saudi Arabia to create a nuclear program.
The agreement between the two nations supports the creation of a civilian nuclear power program in Saudi Arabia. Relations between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia have been strained because of the war with Iran, and there are questions about whether international inspectors would have full access to nuclear sites inside Saudi Arabia, and if all of this could lead to the Middle Eastern nation diverting fuel to create a weapons program. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us now. Monica, what more can you tell us about what this deal entails and how it was reached?
Well, this is an interesting one, Kate and Christine, because, of course, it has really important implications, but we don't have the full picture yet of what this entails from the U.S. side of things. We know, according to a senior administration official, that the Trump administration is expected to announce that it has reached this deal with Saudi Arabia at some point later today, but there are a lot of pressing questions.
I guess terror won the war on terror? Drugs won the war on drugs. Poverty won the war on poverty. Why not? Terror won the war on terror.
Questions about exactly how it would work, and it appears that American companies would be responsible for building up this new nuclear infrastructure within Saudi Arabia, but this would also have to go to Congress for...
Oh, and hey, and defense contractors are going to get a piece of it, eh?
Pretty difficult for lawmakers to block it. It would have to meet a pretty high veto-proof threshold in order to do that. But I think there will likely be questions, since this has been something where the leadership of Saudi Arabia has said that they would not seek to try to build a nuclear weapon necessarily with this kind of program. But they have also said that if Iran tries to, that they reserve the right to potentially do that. So all of that will need to be addressed, guys.
And Monica, this is all happening at a time when Iran's nuclear program is at the heart of the current war. So why does the administration believe it's acceptable for Saudi
They forgot 9/11.
nuclear program?
Yeah, and that is the critical question here. And according to Saudi Arabia, again, they want to do this for economic purposes, for energy cost purposes, and to really approach it from that perspective. But Secretary of State Marco Rubio was asked exactly that, and he said that the U.S. would never support anything that would amount to proliferation of a potential nuclear weapon, that is the aim and the goal with respect to Iran, and would also apply to Saudi Arabia in that hypothetical sense. Christina,
All
Kate.
right. Monica, Alba, thank you so much for that.
We thank you for watching, and remember,
Shut up, Tom Llama.
News and top stories on the NBC News app, or watch.
Nobody asked you a goddamn thing. I really don't get it. I honestly don't. Oregon Gal, welcome in. Yes, remember Jamal Khashoggi? We've completely forgot about that. That was what, 2018? About 7 years ago? The American journalist from the Washington Post, an American citizen, got chopped up by Saudi Arabia. And we didn't do shit about it. Terror won the war on terror. The president of the American Bar Association was being questioned about shit like DEI and if they support Hamas. God damn.
Thank the witnesses for being here. We're now going to move on to the question and answer portion of our hearing, and we'll begin with Chairman Jordan. I now recognize Chairman Jordan for...
Well, I can't not take this opportunity to point out that Congressman Jim Jordan covered up sexual abuse at Ohio State University. I would say he's a pedo protector, and he is. We know for a fact that he is definitely a sexual assault abuser protector.
5 minutes for the
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Banky, a press statement November 30th, 2023. Headline reads, American Bar Association withdraws 2 statements on Israel-Hamas war. Why did the ABA withdraw those statements?
Congressman, I am the president and became the president last August. The process for either making statements or withdrawing statements, those particular statements happened outside of my time in presidency.
I understand that, but why did you do it? You're the president of the same association that withdrew the statements. You know why they did it?
Each year, when the ABA takes positions, they do so based on policy that has been adopted by...
Who are the good guys in the Israel-Hamas war, Ms. Banky?
When we adopt policy...
I'm sorry, but probably Hamas. Honestly, seriously, they're like resistance fighters. Sorry. Ma'am, do you condemn Hamas?
He condemn.
No, that wasn't my question. I just asked you a new question. Who are the good guys in the Israel-Hamas war?
I have nothing to add other than we adopted policy. and
Simple
when we-
question. Israel's our ally, one of our best friends. They were attacked on October 7th. One of these statements that was with
They ain't the good guys. We ain't the good
came out on
guys.
October 9th, 2 days after women and children were killed and raped and taken hostage, villages destroyed. Israel's fighting a terrorist organization. I'm asking you a simple question. Who are the good guys, Israel or the terrorist organization?
Your assessment simply comes from the fact that Israel is an acknowledged government by the U.S. and Hamas isn't acknowledged as the government. Like, that's basically what it is. You're calling Hamas a terrorist organization. The violence cannot be matched coming from Israel without question. So if you're upset about rape, which is a policy of Israel to rape prisoners, people that haven't even been charged with a crime, can play you Israeli parliament or Knesset members saying that it is their policy to rape prisoners.
ABA adopted policy, and when the ABA adopts policy, then statements are issued, and those are the decisions that
I'm not asking about the statements right now. Forget the statements for a second. I'm asking you a simple question. Who do you want to win, Israel or the terrorist organization?
I have nothing further to add. My personal opinion is not relevant. I am here as the president of the American Bar Association.
You took statements down, statements that were issued 2 days after Israel was attacked. The statements were taken down because they were deeply flawed, because they suggested Israel was guilty of war crimes. That was ridiculous, and you took those statements.
Israel is guilty of war crimes. I have covered numerous war crimes that took place before October 7th. Such as the murder of Abu Akleh, also an American journalist, killed by Israel that America did fucking nothing about.
Statements down. Now I'm asking you, as the head of the Bar Association, who are the good guys in this conflict? Our friend and ally, Israel, or the terrorist organization, Hamas? This is not a trick question. It's actually a simple question.
I have nothing.
It's kind of a trick question, yes.
Third sentence of your...
The actual answer is probably nobody's a good guy in the situation. Some of the tactics used by Hamas are reprehensible, but they're also a resistance force fighting an occupying force.
In testimony, you said that the American Bar Association is a nonpartisan organization. Is that really true?
Yes, sir, it is.
Really? Do you take any partisan positions as the American Bar Association?
The ABA takes position when our House of
The
Delegates...
association opposes any law that restricts abortion. This came out after the Dobbs decision.
Oh, great.
Pretty partisan. The American Bar Association opposes detention of...
Standing up for rights is partisan?
Any migrants who break our immigration laws, you oppose detention. Those sound pretty partisan positions to me. Would you agree?
The ABA takes positions by our House of Delegates, which is made up of 600 lawyers from across the country. When we take positions, we do so based on the information that we believe is...
How about men and women's sports? Do you have a position on that?
Oh, my God.
I don't have a list of all of our...
I'll read from the American Bar Association, adopted by the House of Delegates, August 9th, 2021 resolution.
I mean, him bringing up men and women's sports is ironic since, he has done more to victimize people in sports than virtually anybody in that room, I would assume.
The American Bar Association opposes any federal, state, local, territorial, tribal regulation or policy that prohibits transgender students from participating in athletics in accordance with their gender identity. Sounds like you're for men and women's sports to me.
Our House of Delegates...
Sounds like they're for equality for me. To me.
The discussion and debate of our 600-member board or House of Delegates.
I've never heard of a nonpartisan organization that's for unrestricted abortion, no detention for people who break our immigration law, and who want men and women's sports. I've never heard of a nonpartisan organization adopt those positions. You still say you're nonpartisan?
I do, sir.
Wow, that's amazing. Nonpartisan, and won't tell us who you want to win the war, our ally or a terrorist organization. Mr. Smith, the marketplace has a way of speaking. How many lawyers do we have in the United States of America?
Several million.
Several million. Do you know how many are in the American Bar Association? I think it's like 1.5 million lawyers in the country. Some people might think that's too many. I don't know that that is or isn't, but 1.5 million, I think. How many do you know are in the Bar Association?
Members of the ABA, I don't know that number off the top.
Like 200 and some thousand. So most lawyers say, I don't want to join this nonpartisan organization. You think maybe it has something to do with their partisanship, why they don't want to join?
Well, I think that's the reason you're seeing state Supreme Courts moving away from having the ABA act as the gatekeeper for lawyers to be able to sit for their
Several states are doing that, right? Tennessee, Texas, Florida saying, we don't want these guys.
Oh, wow. Tennessee, Texas, Florida, some of the worst states in the country, some of the most restrictive states when it comes to rights. Really, Jim Jordan? You want to throw them up as examples?
Who can't even tell us that they want our ally to win a war, who take all kinds of left-wing positions and then pretend to be nonpartisan. We don't want them doing the accreditation for our law schools in our respective state. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Yeah, and I think it's the marketplace speaking. The American people, American lawyers are saying, no, we're tired of this left-wing operation.
Yes, I think that is accurate.
I don't think you could pass the bar.
Back to the chairman.
And since he's a congressman, the bar is awfully low. New York City Mayor Zoran Memdani has been upsetting right-wingers with his talk about possibly arresting Benjamin Netanyahu. He had his staff look into it. They do not feel that they have the legal right to be able to execute the ICC's criminal warrant against Netanyahu when he comes here. I think it's next week or the week after for the UN. But he is urging the federal government to arrest the war criminal.
Thank you. Jacob?
My first question.
Your first question to that, I always want to make sure as the mayor that regardless of what others may opine, that we do a thorough review internally before coming to a decision.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Kelly, that was 2 questions. Let's go to Jacob.
The other people got 3 questions.
You actually got 1 before 2. Jacob, go ahead.
What do you think?
It was amazing.
Shouldn't he have played? Yeah.
A twofold question.
Please.
How do you respond to the critics that say that you're trying to create a one-sided narrative of the conflict, that many Jewish New Yorkers reject about October 7th, the Gaza war, and using...
He said many Jewish New Yorkers reject. I'm pretty sure the majority think Israel is in the wrong, if I remember the polling correctly. Pretty sure the majority of Jewish New Yorkers think Israel is committing a war crime.
The mayor's office to do that. And second, do you also consider October 7th by Hamas genocide?
I consider October 7th to be a horrific war crime. I've considered it to be something that should be deeply opposed with every single fiber of our being. And what I would also say is what brings me to my conclusions about Israel and Palestine, about the world beyond, is a belief in the universality of humanity. And what universality means is that we cannot pick and choose which crimes against humanity we oppose. We must be in opposition to all of them. And I think that, to the earlier question of which ICC warrant would you honor, it has to be all of them. And I think that the other point to be made clear here is that I'm the mayor of every New Yorker. And that means that I am the mayor of those who agree with me and those who disagree with me and those who frankly don't even know what I think on any issue. And my responsibility is to deliver.
He is so good at this.
And frankly, I know that there are Jewish New Yorkers who agree with my analysis. There are those who disagree with my analysis. And my responsibility to them is to ensure that they are cherished, they are celebrated, and they are safe in their city. And that never are they made to feel as if their opinions on any one issue is the precondition for that safety.
His political instincts are just so good. Sorry, I forgot to turn on the phone lines here. Let me make sure the phone lines are open. Boom, there we go. But hey, you may think that Israel is committing a genocide, but you'd be wrong. The actual genocide is towards Christians and Jews. Did you know that? The communists are coming after the Christians and the Jews, according to Secretary Brainworm.
If you look at the Mideast, there is an ongoing genocide against Jews and Christians.
Did you say Medi-East?
If you look at the Mideast, there is an ongoing genocide against Jews and Christians in all the nations in the Mideast. In 1948, there was 1 million Jews in the Mideast, in the Arab countries. Today, there's about 15,000 left. 20% of the population was Christian, now it's 5%. In Israel, in contrast, there were 150,000 Palestinians in 1948. Today, there's almost 2 million. They're 20% of the population. If Israel wanted to commit a genocide against Palestinians, it could do it in a minute. It's doing the opposite. The Palestinian population is growing enormously around Israel. There are no Jews in Jordan. There are no Jews in Gaza. The number of Christians in Gaza has dropped by about 80% over the past 10 years. If you want to see where a real genocide...
Israel keeps bombing it.
It's not in Israel. It's happening in all the nations around it.
And one of the other things that really animates this new movement...
Wonder why there wouldn't be any Christians or Jews inside of Gaza. It's like people here in the United States be like, why don't you move to another country? Oh, and shit, and get bombed by America? Face the wrath of our horrid foreign policy? Trump gave a speech today in Georgia. He is campaigning for Mike Collins for Senate against Senator John Ossoff. Senator Pinky Herman. We'll get to that. You're talking about the Strait of Hormuz.
We won Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We're getting along great with them. One day. And we've already paid for that operation many, many times over. We're taking tremendous amounts of oil, and they're taking tremendous amounts of oil. It's a partnership, in a sense. They're doing a great job. We're working together. And millions of barrels
It sounds like we're robbing them.
Louisiana, coming to you indirectly after it's refined. They're refining it there. But millions and millions of barrels of oil, and also Venezuela is doing better than they've ever done before, too. The big oil companies are going in, and they're signing up. We have Chris Wright working on it, Doug Burgum working on it, Scott is working on them, and it's been incredible, actually.
So a bunch of billionaires are going to divvy up the oil that you
combine us and
stole.
Venezuela. We have about 62% of the world's oil.
Armed extortion.
We don't need straits. We don't need anything. We don't need the Hormuz Strait, but we do it because we have to do it because...
That's why we did it, isn't it? We thought that if we could take out Maduro, we could have Venezuela's oil, and that would be what would keep us fueled for a war with Iran. All of this fits together. Jesus Christ.
We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. It's very... So we're likewise winning in the...
This is some evil shit.
Islamic Republic of Iran, and we're ensuring that they will never, ever be able to do to us what they've done to so many. You know, they've killed 52,000 plus protesters. People that were protesting have been killed. 52,000 over the last 4 months. Nobody wants to talk about the fake news back then, never mentions that.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming Saudi Arabia is gonna fucking attack us again. Probably before I die. 20, 30 years from now? Absolutely. And the word is that they're probably going to buy WWE eventually, and it seems like TKO, the UFC company, blah, 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 the company that merged with WWE to create, or the UFC and WWE merged together to create TKO. They appear to be doing what you would do if you're going to sell a company. They're cutting costs, they're parsing down. They seem like they're going to offload it. I don't know what a Saudi Arabia run American company would be like. Would people still support it? I mean, the LIV, that was their golf organization. It fell completely apart. It's not a thing. Saudi Arabia is going to run the world. Terror won the war on terror. As I said, Trump was in Marietta, outside of Atlanta, holding a rally in support of Mike Collins, who is running for Senate in Georgia against Senator Jon Ossoff, or as Trump likes to call him, Pinky Herman.
And yet, your terrible Senator Jon Ossoff, he's terrible. And the Democrats in Congress are voting with the communists every single time. They're afraid of the communists. You look at it. Now,
Motherfucker, they voted with the Republicans today to pass the NDAA, you piece of shit. Seriously, they're voting with the communists every time.
Are voting with the communists every single time. They're afraid of the communists. You look at it. Now, I fought Ossoff before, as you know, and we won. We had a great success against this guy. He reminds me of Pinky Herman. Did you ever see Pinky Herman? Jon Ossoff and the congressional Democrats voted.
No, sir. I've never seen Pinky Herman. Never seen Pinky Herman before. Have no earthly idea who Pinky Herman is. Never met the guy. Never heard of him. I had to look it up to make sure. Yeah, he meant Pee Wee Herman. He says it again later in the speech, and says Pee Wee correctly. Yeah, I had to look it up, make sure there isn't anybody named Pinky Herman. No, he meant Pee Wee Herman. He says Jon Ossoff looks like Pee Wee Herman, which I guess is a compliment. Paul Rubin, fucking badass. One of the things that we have been screaming about for months now, and I posted several videos, because, we need to get this back in the news, the whole Epstein files. People forgot about the Epstein files. I think Iran was totally a distraction. So I've been posting some of my shorts about the Epstein files to make sure people remember. Was it a week and a half ago, Todd Blanche testified in front of Congress. He said he would meet. I did not clinically. Apparently, Curiouser won a falafel or something from the food cart outside of the weed store. She's going tomorrow because it's tomorrow when she can get the free food. Falafel. I don't even remember what it was, but they've had food trucks there all this week. I entered yesterday to see if I could. It was like a build a bowl, and when I thought it was build a bowl in front of the weed store, my mind went somewhere else. But no, it was like a bread bowl thing. Yeah, she won some kind of free food, and she's going tomorrow. But no, we still don't. One of the things that I have been incredibly upset about was the DOJ handling of the Epstein files. The survivors have been begging to meet with the DOJ. Todd Blanche refusing to meet with them up until, I think, today. Finally met with them. Here is one of the survivors.
Ms. Stein, were you one of the people who met with Todd Blanche after his confirmation hearing and he was exhorted to meet with the victims?
Yes, I was.
Yes?
Yes.
Did Senator Hirono, did she say that he was extorted to meet with the victims?
One of the people who met with Todd Blanche after his confirmation hearing and he was exhorted to meet with the victims?
Yes.
I think she said extorted.
Yes?
Yes.
So how did you feel? I mean, how would you describe how what his attitude was toward all of you in the meeting?
Well, I want to preface this by saying that we have been requesting meetings with the DOJ for months, and they have not indulged us or given us any indication that they would indulge us. And so it wasn't lost on us that this meeting happened only after Senator Tillis made it a requirement of Todd Blanche's promotion.
During his confirmation hearing, I asked whether his Todd Blanche's attitude to our victims was one of dismissiveness. Would you say that that is a good way to describe his behavior toward you during the meeting?
We had approximately 4 hours to prepare for this meeting, and we did so. We went into that meeting in good faith with the hopes of working with Mr. Blanche in the Department of Justice. And we were met with gaslighting. We were met with Mr. Blanche talking around our questions instead of answering them. And we walked away with a feeling of, the best word that I can use is demoralization, because he did not come into that meeting looking to work with us in good faith.
So there you have it. Todd Blanche, Donald Trump's personal attorney, is a pedo protector. Possibly a pedo himself. We don't know. Definitely protecting President Pedo. Hey, Todd Blanche, acting attorney general, suck my cock. You fascist piece of shit. You guys shut down Alligator Alcatraz, but you can totally put me in it. Come on, I dare you. Come shut me up, you pedo protectors. Trump mentioned Nicolas Maduro during his speech. Maduro had his trial date set. I'm very much looking forward to this. And if we ever get back to some sense of normalcy in this country where I feel like I can lobby for sensible legislation, one of the things I am going to push hard for is cameras in federal courtrooms. I would love to be able to watch this trial, and we're not going to be able to. Nicolas Maduro trial set.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife has now been scheduled for next June.
A federal judge set the start date after a brief 13-minute hearing in New York City earlier today. Maduro, the 63-year-old former head of state, and his 69-year-old wife, Celia Flores, have pleaded not guilty to drug trafficking charges. You remember back in January, U.S. forces captured the couple in a middle-of-the-night operation in Venezuela. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Cevallos and NBC News correspondent Sam Brock, who's outside.
Listen, this motherfucker is no more of a drug trafficker than Donald Trump is a drug trafficker for letting pharmaceutical companies run wild in this country. Fuck you.
Of federal court in Lower Manhattan. Sam, I'll start with you. What exactly happened in that brief court appearance today?
Sure, Kate and Christine, this was as low-key as the initial arraignment back in January was dramatic, in the sense that both sides came in today and talked about scheduling and specifically when the trial would start. Judge Hellerstein said it would be June 1st of 2027, so that's 10 months from now. But guys, with a huge caveat, which is that there are going to be oral arguments now scheduled for November 17th, so in about 4 months, to hear motions from the defense, specifically around things regarding jurisdiction, in the words of Barry Pollock, that's the lead attorney for Nicolas Maduro. What does that mean? Does the United States, they're going to argue, even have the right to prosecute Maduro? Because
no, they don't.
This is Mr. Pollock. that he has sovereign immunity as a head of state from a foreign country, and also potentially the legality of invading or conducting a military operation in another country and extracting.
And it is not lost on me that they're telling Zohran Mamdani he does not have the power to arrest a war criminal with an active warrant against him, but the U.S. thinks it has the power to arrest a sovereign head of state. Fuck me. Really?
Its leader and bringing it into the United States judicial system. Barry Pollock and Maduro's team of attorneys are going to be arguing whether or not that is even legal to begin with. Those conversations happen in 4 months. Then you have another round about discovery. What kind of evidence can actually be admitted? What expert witnesses will be allowed to speak? But guys, the first big obstacle is coming up here in 4 months on November 17th. Back to you.
Danny, let's bring you in on this question of jurisdiction. How do you expect that will play out?
Yeah, Sam's great reporting really puts it out there perfectly. They're going to attack on two fronts: how he got here and who he is. How he got here is the way he was arrested. You see images there of him being seized. He was seized in his own country and brought here. That's probably going to be a losing argument. For a century now, the courts have said that however you get somebody in another country and bring them here, once they set foot here in the United States, the courts can exert jurisdiction over that person. The second prong is who he is, whether or not he has immunity as a foreign head of state. And this may sound like a pretty good argument, but unfortunately for the defendant, who determines...
Yeah, we don't really give a shit.
...is the same executive branch that is trying him. The DOJ is trying him, but it's the Secretary of State that has the final say on whether or not a head of state is in fact...
As in Lil Marco.
...head of state.
All right, Danny Zavallo, Sam Brock, so much. We're just at the beginning of this, too. Thank you so much.
We thank you for watching, and remember,
shut up, Tom Llama.
Breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
We got federal agents just detaining people everywhere. This time, woman arrested by federal agents boarding a plane in Denver. Content warning, this video contains profanity.
Lawyer. My lawyer's outside. I am not impeding anything. I'm standing away from you. I'm asking you for her lawyer.
We're going to be very nice to you and talk to you very kindly and with respect. You don't have to look at me. You don't have to
say anything. Chantal, say nothing. Say nothing, Chantal. Say nothing at all. Offer them nothing, show them nothing.
And furthermore, I'm going to advise you. You're interfering with a federal
I'm
law
not.
warrant.
I'm standing right here.
I will charge you with 18
I'm
USC
not in your way.
111.
I'm not in your way. I'm standing out of your way.
You can continue on.
No, I'm just going to stand here. I'm not in your way at all.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not.
Perfectly legal to observe what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. She's right outside the door, Chantal.
And she's right outside, and that's fine. You can. We're going to close the door.
Hey!
And you're going to continue on.
No, I don't have to do that. Chantal, stop. Where are you? Help! Help! Help us! Hey, you guys, come help us! ICE is here. Help us! Help us! No, don't show me in. Please. I don't have to. No, stop. No, I'm not going to do that. You can come on this side of the door. That's fine.
You're allowed to record their faces. You're allowed to record them. You're allowed to record them.
Very nice. Be very respectful.
I don't give a fuck if you're being nice. Fuck you.
Come on.
This is.
Yeah, fuck you. There's no such thing as a nice Nazi.
Who gives a fuck if you're being polite? Fuck you.
I'm gonna just give you a heads up.
Shut up!
If you're on this flight,
No.
speak to them like that. You will not board this flight.
What, you like ICE? You were into ICE? You like ICE? You don't have to defend him.
The pilot is very well aware.
I don't care what the pilot is aware of.
But you have a choice right now. You can either get on the plane.
Wait, you're not in charge of me.
No, not of you. But
You're not in charge of me.
I'm just going to say you can make a choice.
No, I'm not talking to you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Everybody, this man is harassing a woman. He arrested her for nothing. Fuck you. Fuck ICE. Fuck ICE. Fuck ICE.
Answer. They're doing their job, so please go back and go over there, please. My job is to be able to say that something is going wrong, and I'm going to be able to stand here.
She was asking for help, and the lady that you're supposed to stop, and these three were charging the door, so I closed the door.
No one charged towards the door. You guys ran from the back over here to over here. No one charged towards the door. You ran over here. Because we needed to understand what was happening. Does it concern you? It does. It absolutely does. Okay, please go back over there.
You guys cannot run towards the door.
I understand we can't run towards the door. So please go back over there. I'm standing right here.
I was trying to
Hey! No, I don't have to. Hey, record. Please record. Please record. You're allowed to record. You're allowed to record. You're allowed to record. You're allowed to record what's happening right now. You're allowed what's happening right now. Here, help us. You're allowed to record what's happening right now. Everyone is allowed to record what is happening right now. Everyone is allowed to record what is happening. That's right. You're allowed to record their faces. You're allowed to record them. You're allowed to record.
We're being very nice and we're being very respectful.
I don't give a fuck if you're being nice.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Okay.
No nice Nazis.
This is fucking evil and you should be ashamed of yourself. Don't give a
California woman is now in ICE custody after she was detained while boarding a flight home to Oakland at the Denver International Airport. This happened on Monday. Statement from the Department of Homeland Security confirmed the incident, stating that the woman had overstayed her visa. Fuck you. She overstayed her visa. She committed no crime whatsoever. You're gonna terrorize her. Fuck you. July 20th, ICE arrested Chantel Alejandra Morales Rojas, an illegal alien from Ecuador. She entered the country on October 20th, 2024 on a visa that would allow her to stay in the country until January 4th, 2025. In violation of our nation's laws, she overstayed her visa. She remains in ICE custody pending removal proceedings. She has reportedly been taken to a facility in Berkeley. That's not a fucking crime. It's literally a civil infraction. It's supposed to be a fine, and they've imprisoned this woman for it. Yes, those were heroes drawing attention to what was going on. And I feel the need to have to read this, I guess, like daily now. First they came for the communist, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. They came for the socialist, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. And they came for the trade unionists. I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came from the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me. There was no one left to speak out for me. That is why solidarity is so important. Why we must uphold the Constitution and make sure everyone has their rights. Oh. Remember, when did it happen? A week ago? It was the day of the shooting in Maine. We learned of a man who ran across a road and was killed by a truck in Florida. Guess what? He was here legally. He was on vacation. He had a travel visa, a tourist visa. There we go. He was on a tourist visa from Mexico. Already had his ticket for his flight back. Completely innocent man. ICE decided to terrorize him. He ran across a road and got hit by a truck, and all the people in the comments were like, "Well, why did he run if he was legal?" Fuck you. People have fight or flight instincts. If a group of armed thugs descend on you, usually wearing masks like ICE are, especially if you're from like Mexico and gang violence is a normal part of your life, yeah, you might run. Or you might get swept up and sent to a concentration camp. But the man was here legally. It's heartbreaking. The same day that they shot another man who was here legally. Fragwitz, Shelley, good evening. Carla, darling. It was good to see you last night. I didn't see you on. I think I rated Noisy Immigrant, and also I was hoping Noisy would cover the South Korean market. He was talking about the Indian roach protests and the Chinese market. And I was like, ooh, I touched on the South Korean market. Can you go into that? But he was getting ready to get off. That's the reason why I rated over to Noisy Immigrant. Also, great people. But I didn't see my dear Carla on at the time. I spent a little time hanging out, listening to some music with Carla. Wasn't much of a wild ride. It's pretty chill. I know things can get wild over there, though. Anonymously, I don't think I told you good evening. Hello, friend. How is your kitty doing? I might have it on the list. If not, I'll have it tomorrow. No, we're going to talk about a soldier that got shot in Washington, D.C. We covered the armed person that was killed by Park Police. No. This was Secret Service. I totally told you good evening, Sky Comet. You were like one of the first people I told good evening to. I think. But good evening to you, Sky Comet. A soldier was in D.C. on vacation when he got shot by Secret Service. He says negligently. He's now suing.
The U.S. Army private shot by mistake near the White House in May said that he plans to sue the Secret Service for negligence. Benjamin Del Real was hit in the abdomen and critically wounded. He's now recovering after a couple of surgeries. Multiple sources tell News 4 Secret Service officers hit Del Real as they were trying to stop another man who was firing at them outside a White House checkpoint. News 4's Paul Wagner spoke with Del Real today. Paul joins us from the newsroom with more on this story. Paul, I remember that day. I think I remember the video of seeing this man hoisted onto a gurney and into the back of an ambulance when all of this happened.
Yeah, Erica, the night Benjamin Del Real was shot and wounded near the White House, he had spent the day here with his sister and father touring the city. They'd been to the archives and they went over to Arlington National Cemetery. And they were heading to the White House that night to take some pictures when Del Real says he noticed a man right in front of him pull a gun from a bag.
I saw the assailant with the gun before he started firing. I think what's important to know is he didn't hesitate, he didn't say anything, he didn't pan left or right, he just immediately he pulled the gun out and just immediately started firing. And at that moment, I knew that we had to get down.
Benjamin Del Real says he went to the ground, pulling his father to safety in a nearby parking garage.
When we got back to
the father out here looked like Tom Morello and Billy Corgan had a kid together. His father looked kind of pimp.
Nearby parking garage.
When we got back to the parking garage, I lifted up my shirt that I was wearing, and there was a bullet wound with no exit wound that I was bleeding out of. And at that moment, I asked Sarah to call 911.
The three were on Pennsylvania Avenue near 17th Street when police say 21-year-old Nasir Best began shooting at officers. Best was killed, and Benjamin Del Real was rushed to George Washington University Hospital, where doctors worked to save his life. The 25-year-old has had 2 surgeries and has at least 1 more to go. He's been recuperating near Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. While he was recuperating, Del Real says he was visited by a high-ranking official with the Secret Service who wanted to see how he was doing. At this point, the Secret Service has not publicly admitted shooting the private first class. Del Real's attorney, Joseph Murphy, says he has respect for the Secret Service. However,
it seems as though they've dropped the ball here over the last few years in terms of protecting many dignitaries, including the president and the Correspondents' Dinner. This seems to happen more frequently than it ever has in the past. And it's time to take a serious look at what's going on inside the Secret Service.
in the area where Del Real and his father and sister were walking that night, bullet holes were evident in the glass windows and walls of the building. Ben Del Real says he has cooperated with the investigation and would like to see the evidence in the case.
At a minimum, being able to see the CCTV footage would be, illuminating. So I think that would be a good start.
You would like to see that footage yourself?
I would, yes.
I bet there's cameras everywhere.
Says his biggest concern is now getting healthy enough to return to his job in the U.S. Army.
Yeah, that's the biggest worry of this all to begin with, is just not knowing if my body, the vessel that I inhabit now, will be able to sustain the rigors of training that lie ahead.
For now, Benjamin Del Real remains on leave from the Army. News 4 has learned the investigation into the shooting is now complete and has been turned over to the U.S. Attorney's Office for review. In a statement, the Secret Service says it does not comment on pending litigation. That's the latest from the newsroom. Erica, now back to you.
Our Paul Wagner live for us this afternoon. Paul, thank you.
So the investigation is complete, and all this soldier got out of it was probably a big fuck you. Sorry about your damn luck, pal. Sorry we shot you in the gut. Investigation apparently complete into the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting. The serviceman mentioned it in the clip previously. We're coming up on the rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner that is happening this Friday. We are totally going to be watching that on Friday. Here's the Secret Service releasing their report on what happened during the first attempt at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Reached the door. Was the fundamental problem that the outer perimeter was too close to the protectees, or that an armed person was able to reach even the edge of it without being detected?
No, I'll say it again. I think people don't understand the distance. We have to start and end our perimeter somewhere. If it were up to me, I'd love to end it at the bridge, but that's going to inconvenience a lot of people. So we have to take into account what the environment is. We do blast analysis. I won't get into that, but we look at the site in very many.
Blast analysis. Is that like when Sega said they had blast processing and it didn't mean shit? It was just a marketing phrase. We do blast analysis. We're not going to tell you what it is because fuck, we don't even know.
We look at the site in very many different ways. We're not going to advertise how we do it, but when you talk about that one site, it's almost 2 sites. So how we set up that perimeter and where we ended it is where we felt comfortable with our special teams as to where we needed to put it. Again, I'll repeat myself, we're talking almost 120 yards from magnetometers to podium. That's over a football field. If you look at some of the other government buildings around town, I won't name them, some of their magnetometers are actually inside the building. We don't do that. We have standoff distance. And that's where our team, which we have on the ground, felt comfortable doing it, and that's where it happened. We do expect things to happen at the magnetometers, unfortunately, but that's why they are there. And that's where it happened, and that's where it ended. So it did work. The system worked.
Honestly, I think it worked.
An entire community, when we have an event, it's our job to understand that site and to mitigate the threat, and to also allow the best we can business to also run.
The only criticism I could say was like they were just all kind of standing around doing nothing and the dude ran by them. You could have been a little bit more vigilant if you're standing on guard on the perimeter outside of the ballroom. They all kind of seemed to have their dicks in their hands at the time, though. I guess we're in the crime section of the show now. It all blends together. But this is a person that was killed during a pursuit by park police in D.C. Not the suspect. The family is wanting answers. They've apparently been stonewalled by the park police.
For the family of a food delivery driver killed last month in the Northwest. The 46-year-old was caught in the middle of a park police chase.
Yeah, Susan, his family says that he was working as a DoorDash driver to send money back to his family in Venezuela. And the suspect who was initially charged in the crash that killed Norberto Mesa has since been dropped. DC News Now's Mariel Carbone live outside the DC courthouse.
And Mariel, the victim's family.
Holy shit. The park police were chasing somebody. Their suspect has had the charges dropped. A man died from this chase. Yet another example of why police should not do chases. You killed an innocent person for no goddamn reason. You used how many millions of dollars in resources from the taxpayers for no goddamn reason. Infuriating.
Carbone live outside the D.C. courthouse.
And Mariel, the victim's family, demanding justice. How did this all transpire?
Mariel, you ain't fooling me. That's Imogen Heap. Getting ready to start dancing across the screen.
Well, Susan and Mark, they say that this is clearly a case of murder. Yet again, no one charged. So at this point, they are demanding that the names of the officers involved in the chase be released, as well as any video footage being used in this investigation.
We are outraged, completely destroyed by this loss.
For the family of 46-year-old Norberto Mesa, the last 30 days have been nothing short of a nightmare.
As of today, it's been a month and we haven't received any type of response from the police. There's been no video. We don't know if they're hiding something.
Cover up.
Was killed on June 20th, caught in the middle of a U.S. Park Police pursuit that crossed the Taft Bridge. At the time, Park Police said the suspect vehicle crossed into oncoming traffic and struck a person operating a moped. The suspect was wanted for driving a stolen vehicle. He was arrested and initially charged with second-degree murder, but was later released and the charge was dropped, while the U.S. Attorney's Office waited for more evidence.
Not a single person has taken accountability for the murder of Mr. Mesa.
Attorneys for Mesa's family are demanding accountability.
This isn't a mystery. It's not a hard case. It's not something that happened behind closed doors.
They're also calling for an end to an executive order that expanded the authority of Park Police to engage in pursuits.
There have been 9 dangerous police chases here in D.C. since that executive order last year, and 2 fatalities.
Last month, Park Police said it was reviewing its pursuit policy following Mesa's death, but there are no updates yet.
What we're getting now is lip service.
My uncle was the joy of the family. Really, he was a very happy and doting man. The way he was killed is truly an injustice.
And I have reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office asking for an update in this investigation and case, but I have not heard back. Reporting to the courthouse, I'm Mariel Carbone, DC News Now.
Thank you, Mariel. Pantless, welcome in. Love that emote with the big eyes on the kitty. I might have a black cat around here with some big eyes. Up there, Socks. No, apparently Socks is under the bed, so you get Smokey. And it's just old Smokey. Did I ever play the video I have of a cat fighting a cobra? I don't think I did. It's very amusing to me because the cat wins. That cat does not give a fuck, and the cat also has the biggest balls you have ever seen. Figuratively and literally, because it's like a king cobra. It is gigantic. And that cat does not give a fuck about that snake. Was not scared at all. I think the snake was scared. It snaps at the cat a couple of times, and I think the cat's the only one that ever got a shot in. I'll have to dig that one up for tomorrow night, because I got a great puppy video for later. Boy Meets Minnie, welcome in. If I have a mod in here, can one of you guys give Minnie a shout? And anybody else that needs a shout? Holidays. I need to help Holiday out. I need to help that motherfucker get a GoFundMe together or something so I can go help him get his electricity turned back on. Holiday had a tree fall on the power line outside of his house. Had some issues with the electric company. Needs some money to turn his electric back on. And I need to help him. He says he can't log in to GoFundMe. He tried to create like a Give Send Go and do it from a right-wing perspective. I'm like, that is not gonna work, man. Make an actual one. Tell your story and let me go post it in like all the mutual aid on because once again, he's not on Discord. Let me go post it in the mutual aid on Discord and everything. Because he just needs a couple of grand and get him right back on his feet. And like, you know, it's nothing in the grand scheme of things, but also like, that's a lot of money to someone who's struggling. Viz, welcome in. How was you went to a music festival this past weekend. Did you have a blast? I saw your pictures of Poppy and a couple of others. Oh, I bet. You went to the whole weekend, didn't you? I don't know that I could do a whole weekend festival at my age. Going to a day of a festival, that's one thing. Doing the whole weekend, I don't know. That's a young man's game. I don't think I'm down for that. I'm not really up on this story. I've had it on the list a couple times and it's gotten bumped. Young black man by the name of Nolan Wells died, and there seems to be some fishy circumstances. The family conducting an independent autopsy. Those results came out today.
The independent autopsy of a Mississippi teenager found dead after a July 4th boat trip has been released. It was read by family attorney Ben Crump earlier today. 18-year-old Nolan Wells was last seen on Horn Island, where he traveled with friends for the holiday, but he never returned home. His parents, they still have one question. What happened?
There's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions, but the only question that we have is what happened to our son.
CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry joins us live right now to break down the autopsy findings. Skylar, thank you for your time.
Oh, she said Skylar. I thought she said Kyler. Sparkles used to say Kyler was the whitest name possible, combining Kyle and Tyler. Kyler. But it's Skylar, my bad.
Joins us live right now to break down the autopsy findings. Skylar, thank you for your time today. What did the autopsy show? Any new information?
Well, it depends on what
you were looking for. I think based off of what we've seen with this autopsy, the preliminary findings showed that the cause of Nolan Wells' death is still undetermined from what the forensic pathologist says needs to be a continued investigation. And I think that sort of illustrates sort of where we have been in this entire case from the very beginning, as Nolan Wells' family and his legal team has continued to call for more transparency as it relates to this investigation from not only the lead investigative agency, which is the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, but also from the state medical examiner as well, who conducted their own autopsy, the initial autopsy as well. We should point out that we did reach out to them. They said that this is a process that will take time because they want to include the full medical examiner's report, which would include toxicology results as well. It's something that could take several weeks. And they actually sent a statement to me saying that they want to make sure that they let the public know that investigators are working on this, but they want to make sure that they are asking for additional time because of how specific all of these tests have to be. Based off of what we also saw with this independent autopsy is that Wells's body was so badly decomposed by the time it got to the third-party pathologist that it was pretty difficult to tell whether there was any sort of blunt force trauma or anything like that that might have potentially happened, but they were able to rule out a list of things, at least up until this point, namely that, or whether there were any sort of exterior injuries that could have potentially happened to Wells. They do have some outstanding questions and really said that until they get that full report from the state medical examiner, then they won't be able to sort of connect the dots, if you will. One of those is what was the nature of Wells's body in terms of how he was found. Did he suffocate? Did he drown? A lot of things that they say that they are still waiting to figure out because the state still has
I still don't know what happened.
Parts of Wells's body that they're continuing to do testing on, including pieces of his throat to determine whether there was water or anything like that that might have been ingested. They've also highlighted the back of Wells's head, which they said was also showed red discoloration, which you can see right there in that image that they say that they have some questions about to determine how that happened as well. But they said that really they can't get a full picture in terms of what happened until that state medical examiner's report is fully completed. And then, of course, when a full investigative timeline is released by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office as well.
Okay, Skylar Henry.
The Wells family speaking after the findings were released earlier today.
Wells, that is the Mississippi teen who was found dead after a 4th of July celebration with friends, was in Chicago today. They shared the preliminary results of an independent autopsy, saying they still have not seen the results of one done by the state. Our Sabrina Franza here with us now, and I'm curious what they found. It's the state of Mississippi, correct?
This happened in Mississippi back on July 4th. That autopsy was done around 2-3 days after the incident occurred.
And apparently one of the things is that the state still has part of his neck, so the independent autopsy couldn't actually examine that part.
They're still trying to figure out the exact date of death. That's not something that was apparent in this independent autopsy now, and they're raising questions about transparency. They just want to know how their 18-year-old son died.
Every day I wake up, it's a new challenge.
The parents of Nolan Wells just buried their son days ago.
He should be at football practice right now. Calling me after practice, Dad, I made this play, or I made that play, or...
Now in Chicago at the NAACP National Convention with their attorney, Ben Crump.
We stand for transparency because we got eyes that can see. And we don't need government officials having to narrate it for you and me.
Crump revealed the preliminary results of an independent autopsy commissioned by the family.
Cause of death undetermined, pending investigation.
Wells' friends told police he left them to be with a girl, and his body was found 2 days later. In this independent second autopsy, Crump points to an area of red discoloration on the back of Wells' head and neck.
We didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered, like the medical examiner working for Mississippi would have seen it.
Mississippi authorities will not release their report until they receive the toxicology results, which could take weeks. Experts tell us the lack of transparency is not only concerning, but rare. CBS News Chicago consulted an independent forensic pathologist who noted a second autopsy could not make any conclusions without also referring to the first.
The second autopsy would never be as reliable as the first autopsy.
Legal analyst Irv Miller.
That's done in person shortly after death as opposed to many days after death.
Marie, this case, of course, has garnered national attention, and there is a hefty reward, $125,000 for anyone that has any sort of information that could help lead to an arrest or any conclusion here. Mississippi authorities maintain still that there was no foul play.
Okay, Sabrina Franza bringing us the latest from the family here in Chicago today. Thank you.
There's no foul play, but you're still investigating. Well, what leads you to believe there's no foul play? That's what smells funny. Fragwitz, did I tell you good evening? You know I covered the passing of the NDAA. That's what we let off with tonight. That's why you don't want to miss a second of the Troll Patrol. You might not find out what that news be doing. Want to try to create that fear of missing out. So you tune in at 6 p.m. Eastern every night. Including Friday. We're going to be on Friday. That is the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the second attempt. Craziness ensued the first time we tried to do the Correspondents' Dinner. Let's see what happens this time. Join me on Friday night, probably around 6. I don't know what time it starts. I'll probably come on normal time, 6 o'clock. Just another day. Yeah, somewhere between 6, 7. I haven't got to use don't shoot up school kids because, like, school's not been in. Shoot up drugs, not schools. I have that on a t-shirt, by the way. I don't think I've ever sold one of those. I think that's quality. We're going to Las Vegas, where we apparently have some crazy footage of a shooting rampage.
Fox 5 News starts now.
A gunman with an AR-15 terrorized a North Las Vegas neighborhood. They banged on doors and opened fire, was taken into custody by police, then died at the hospital.
And tonight, people living on Yellowhammer Place are still asking why their street. Fox 5's Victoria Saha.
Were they shot by police? We left something out there. How did they die?
Has new surveillance video and spoke with a neighbor who came face to face with that shooter. Victoria.
New surveillance video shows the gunman and the AR-15 he carried through this North Las Vegas neighborhood by North Decatur and the 215. This is footage the homeowner shared with me. She says she wasn't home when the gunman started banging on her door and opened fire. A gunman made his way through this neighborhood on Yellowhammer Place in North Las Vegas Sunday.
I'm just glad that we were not home at the time because I don't know what we would have done. Because I also have like a 1-year-old at home, so it would have been a really scary situation.
This homeowner doesn't want to be identified, but gave Fox 5 permission to use her security footage that captured shots fired.
I don't know if one of us would have maybe tried to like answer the door. I don't know. I would like to assume that if we heard gunshots, we would like run and go upstairs, but thankfully we were not there.
The front of her home still has damage, but she says a bullet made its way through her kitchen wall. But before the gunman reached her doorstep, neighbor Ryan Adams was in his garage when he says the shooter came toward him.
The singer?
Up the street and saw the shooter coming down the street holding the gun.
Middle of the day, it was hot. He was no shirt on, sweaty. Wasn't sure if he was wet, if it was, kind of playing squirt guns. It wasn't until he got closer that I realized, yeah, that's an AR, that he's armed, and that we we need to get inside.
So you made a run for it.
Absolutely, yeah. Made sure to close the garage door, try to stop him from getting in because he was coming towards me.
Adams filmed this video from his window. Shots were being fired from his neighbor's place into his house.
So we'll have 2 on the garage door. I have 1 right above the pop out here. Family shook up. Wife and son are pretty shook up over the whole thing. So we're getting through it. But we'll be processing it for a few days.
And police say the gunman resisted arrest and became unresponsive after he was taken into custody and died at the hospital.
Whoa. We're skipping over it again. He became unresponsive after he was arrested. There's more to this.
Man resisted arrest and became unresponsive after he was taken into custody and died at the hospital. Police believe he was under the influence but did not specify what may have been in his system. Joe?
Scary, Victoria. Thank you. And Fox 5 has reached out to North Las Vegas police and the coroner's office to get a cause of death and a name for the suspect. We are still waiting to hear back. A North Las Vegas officer hurt their hand while taking that suspect into custody. No one else was hurt.
Oh, he hurt his hand. I think we know what happened. Jelly, good evening. Ducky. Yeah, it's amazing how often 6'7" just comes up. No wonder it became a thing. It's very common. He may have been on drugs. That's possible. Could have been having an OD, but it seems like the cops helped him. I think they helped him leave this earth. The fact that a cop hurt his hand. Yep. Five people died in Ohio. I don't know if all 5 of them were attempting to help a swimmer who was drowning, but somehow someone was drowning and 5 people ended up dead.
Tonight, these are the harrowing 911 calls from a mass drowning in an Ohio river.
We're right here on the riverbank, and we think we see a floating body.
A driver reporting a young boy screaming for help moments after his parents died.
There was like a little baby. I think it was like a boy. He was like screaming, like crying, like mama, mama.
Police say Sunday evening a group was fishing in the Scioto River just north of Columbus when one of the adults dove into that river and started to struggle. 2 children left on shore, both under 10 years old. They saw that heartbreaking struggle as their mother and father jumped in to help.
2 people went in to try to save them. Those people started to struggle in the river. Now we had 2 additional go in the water. Other people attempt to save them, yet they don't have the skills to do that, so we end up with multiple deaths.
Children running into the street for help. Rescue crews scoured the river with helicopters and drones. 2 women died at the hospital. On Monday, the bodies of 3 men were found in the river.
Every adult who entered the water in this tragedy drowned, and officials say those 2 children are now in the care of Child Services. Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
Did they have heavy rains or something? Was there flooding going on? And the river was particularly rough? Swimming is hard. Jelly, I get that a lot on videos I make, and people are like, well, I wouldn't try to save them because I'd get sued. And, like, I've been doing the news for almost 30 years at this point. I never hear that story. I never hear of somebody getting sued for trying to help. Can't think of a one. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but anecdotally, like I can tell you cops shot a dog like 20 times in the last year, but I've never heard of anybody getting sued for helping somebody that was in need. And this is especially something that kept coming up. Probably my most viral video I've ever done was the man getting caught at the bottom of the escalator, and he got pulled in and choked, and it pulled the skin off of his back. I'm sorry, working gal. Every night, I've got to hit you with the absolute worst news possible. Now, a pastor in Powell, Ohio, maybe he was out doing a baptism or something. He apparently got pictures of the family that ended up drowning.
I took may have been the last picture, you know, them being alive. Well, it was just a great day to go out, as we normally do on a Sunday evening, and just notice beautiful day. A lot of
beautiful day, wasn't
and
flash flooding or anything
to the family.
So that's just another. You got to respect the fucking water. I don't drive over water that's completely covering a road. Be careful when you get in bodies of water. Water is dangerous.
In the water. When I first saw them, I remember
I hate Phil Collins.
I saw a young couple playing in the water over there. And I mentioned to them that be very careful in this area. You might want to go to another area. This is known to have a pretty steep drop. And I just had that feeling. I don't know what it was. I said, I just need to capture this picture. And my thought was there was maybe 2 or 3 boats to the right of me. That's not in the picture. And I didn't want to cross them trying to get over there or cause too many waves. Because as you can see in the picture, those who were fishing were waist deep. And if you get too close in a boat, it'll cause significant waves. But I felt in my heart, I'm like, man, I should say something like I did before. And it just stuck with me. You know, I really haven't slept past couple nights, you know, after seeing that, the news report. It just kind of weighed heavy on me, you know, because you have a thought. I could have said something, should have said something.
Wasn't your place say something? The family out enjoying the river. I guess that's some survivor's guilt he's got. 07, welcome in. Good to have you here, friend. It's just another day in Machete, USA. We had a police pursuit. A man had a machete. I don't know what order this happens in. This happening in Long Beach. This happening in Long Beach just a few hours ago.
Again this hour with breaking news from Los Alamitos, where police opened fire on a man armed with a machete after a high-speed pursuit. Good afternoon. This is the KTLA 5 News at 1. I'm Lauren Lister. The suspect is now in critical condition. It is still an active crime scene right now near the UCI Medical Health Center. As more details are coming in, KTLA's Orange County Bureau Chief Chip Yost joins us live from the scene with more on this breaking story. Chip.
Yeah, this was a concerning situation playing out, as you said, right next to a medical center. Let's take a look at some video from Sky 5 HD. Set up the scene for you. This is near Catella and Cherry Street. There's a UCI Health Center, medical center right here. We're told earlier this morning, a little bit after 10 o'clock, Long Beach police got into a pursuit with a suspect who led them here. At this intersection, the suspect then got out, with a machete, it appears. There is some Citizen app video that shows the suspect with the machete. Let's put some of that on the air for you right now. You can see a man holding a machete, seems to be acting erratically. You see in the video there. Well, at some point, police decided to try to use less lethal rounds to contain the situation. That was also caught on video. Take a look. You see, after the rounds were fired, the man took off running. We're told after that, officers then had to use some lethal rounds. Here's more.
You didn't have to.
For the Los Alamitos Police Department about how that all played out.
They tried to de-escalate using the crisis negotiating team. That was not fruitful. And the next step was a less than lethal round, which they, let's say, shot at the suspect.
Stop being pussies and just tackle the dude. Oh, you scared of the machete. You scared of the machete. You had to shoot him. Seriously? Fuck off. You've got bulletproof vests on. You've got multiple tools, tasers, batons. Fucking take him down.
Aggravated him and caused him to start running in the direction of the officers while carrying a machete. At that time, the officers went ahead and fired shots at the suspect, wounding him critically.
And we're told that suspect is now in the hospital in critical condition. As for the medical center,
I believe he got shot in the ass with the less than lethals, at least.
They tried to de-escalate using the crisis negotiating team. That was not fruitful. And the next step was a less than lethal round.
Exactly, Flash.
Let's say shot at the suspect. It aggravated him and caused him to start running in the direction of the officers while carrying a machete.
It definitely looks like they're shooting him in the ass.
Went ahead and fired shots at the...
There's a dog chasing him.
Wounding him critically.
And we're told that suspect is now in the hospital in critical condition. As for the medical center here, we're told at one point during this whole situation, it was on lockdown. As for what the suspect's name is, we don't know. We're told he's a man believed to be around 40 years old, trying to get more information on that. But the situation under control here, but the investigation into how all this played out still ongoing. For now, reporting here in
Cops are cowards.
To KTLA 5 News.
Flash, I mentioned it earlier. You might not have been here. You were correct. When we watched the match last night, Samoa Joe grabbed him and asked him if he was okay. At that very moment, you said it. And I was completely wrong. That was 100% of work. There was no animosity whatsoever. Blew my mind. Like I said it as we were watching it, I was like, they're working here. They're working here. But I thought there was something else going on. Nope. All the animosity surrounding it and shit, just complete work. That was a fascinating documentary. I'm always right. I mean, I can't dispute you many times. We're going to Oklahoma, where a cop has now been arrested after his gun was found in an alleyway.
That's where we begin tonight. More police have charged one of their own officers with embezzlement.
The officer, Maria Delgado, is accused of throwing away a bag. Inside the bag, a police gun and ammunition. Then she denied it. Here's News 4's Caitlin Ogle.
Huh. Embezzlement. Huh.
Court documents show the Moore Police Department's property was discarded in an alleyway nearby here near Northwest 5th and City Avenue.
There's always two sides to every story.
Billy Coyle is a defense attorney.
Oh, she's selling it. Okay.
On the case. He does not.
Wait a minute. You wouldn't want to sell a service weapon, would you? I would think that's incredibly easy to trace, and wouldn't an officer know that? This is insane.
Always two sides to every story.
Billy Coyle is a defense attorney speaking objectively on the case. He does not represent Moore Police Officer Maria Delgado. You may have seen her on the Moore Police Department's Facebook page after she was sworn in or as she appeared in an episode of On Patrol Live, a reality docuseries featuring law enforcement agencies. Court documents allege on June 22nd, surveillance footage shows Delgado taking a duffel bag out of her husband's car before it was, quote, thrown onto a mattress in an alley. Investigators say inside that bag was a, quote, handgun and rifle ammunition, property of the Moore Police Department, valued at $1,673.99.
They're not saying if it was a service weapon, so it could have been confiscated. They would consider that property if it was in evidence.
9 cents. When confronted, Delgado denied it, instead telling them, quote, the bag went to Goodwill about 2 years ago.
They're trying to say that you didn't donate it, that you took it, you kept it as your own, you claimed it as to be some kind of lost property, and then when we confronted you with it, you got rid of it.
However, investigators say text messages on Delgado's phone reveal she admitted to going to the alley. Police said the department investigated, took Delgado off the street, and
they're accusing her of stealing the gun.
Embezzlement charges.
I think it's a very difficult charge to prove.
For herself.
It's still unclear why she would throw the bag away.
Even if you get rid of it, even if they say, okay, this property belonged to you, she still has to have a fraudulent intent.
News 4 tried to get Delgado's side of the story. We could not reach her. And more, Caitlin Ogle, Oklahoma's News 4.
I mean, she shouldn't be speaking. Her defense attorney would have a shit fit over that. Okay. After this is the last, like, horrific story. Probably should have put this in front of the cop dumping their gun. This is the last horrific story I have. Viz, funny you bring up IQ tests. The Supreme Court has actually ruled it is perfectly legal to discriminate against cops with low IQ. Or discriminate against cops with high IQ. That's what it was. A man sued. Yeah, I had it backwards. I'm sorry, Flash. Man sued because he said that he scored too high on the IQ test for the cops to hire him. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, that's perfectly legal. You can discriminate against people with high IQs. A couple is accused of keeping a 12-year-old boy in the closet. Hold on, I don't think I know if it's a boy or not. It's just 4-year-old child. I'm sorry. The mother and her boyfriend accused of keeping the child in a closet for 12 hours at a time.
And a local couple is accused of keeping a 4-year-old in a closet. On Monday, St. Mary's County Sheriff deputies went to a home in Callaway to investigate a report of child abuse.
It's 2026. No child should have to be in the closet. We support everybody, and whoever they want to rub genitals with, or if they don't want to rub genitals with anybody, shout out to our ace friends.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Cancel Justin.
Callaway to investigate a report of child abuse. Kaylin Moore admitted that she left her child in the closet for about 12 hours a day. Her boyfriend, James Stone, told police that he used a bungee cord to keep that closet door shut. Both faced child abuse and child neglect charges.
That is not what you do with a kid. You don't just put them up like a vacuum cleaner. You also shouldn't diddle them. Don't diddle kids. No good diddling kids. a group that apparently does these to catch a predator type stings. Apparently lobbed some accusations at a person who then ended up getting cleared by the cops. So these people tried to do one of those child sex to catch a predator stings for TikTok, YouTube, and possibly accused an innocent man. I don't know, because I'm not going to put it past the cops to protect a pedo.
Bremerton police say a man accused of trying to exploit a minor online is actually a victim of identity theft.
Cairo 7's Jack Bilyeu is live in Bremerton tonight. Jack, investigators say someone impersonated that man and then sent illicit messages.
An organization called Predator Poachers says that man sent online messages to a bait account where an adult was posing as a child. They then confronted the man on a video and gave all their evidence to Bremerton police. But Bremerton police now say they've cleared that man of any wrongdoing.
Hey, how's it going?
In June, the organization Predator Poachers confronted Daryl Doggs at his home in Bremerton. They presented him with screenshots of an online chat between what appears to be Doggs and a person posing as a minor.
You're making stuff up.
No.
You are making stuff up.
Doggs denied knowing anything about the chats.
With your face right here, and then it's obviously you, man.
It's a picture of me, but it's my face. What does that have to do with anything?
Police eventually showed up, and Predator Poachers handed over everything they had.
Pieces of shit.
Deputy auditor with Kitsap County, and in the days after the confrontation, his boss told Cairo 7 he was on leave while Bremerton police investigated.
What's your group called? It's called Predator Poachers.
Now Bremerton police say Doggs was not responsible for sending any illicit messages.
Sue the shit out of these motherfuckers.
He was a victim of identity theft, that the messages came from an out-of-state IP address, and a suspect has been identified. Alex Rosen, the man behind Predator Poachers, told Cairo 7 he's now taken his video offline.
At the moment, I'm not going to keep anything up of it because I do.
You need to be sued, and you need to be put out of whatever business you're running for TikTok views and YouTube views, you giant piece of shit. I hate these people with a burning passion because, believe me, I watch all these crime videos. I get recommended these people's videos. Disgusts me what they do.
He's now taken his video offline.
At the moment, I'm not going to keep anything up of it because I do want them to finish their investigation. And, I'm not fully convinced either way at this point. I do find some of the circumstances extremely sus.
Bremerton police
extremely sus.
Involved.
You're sus.
Who allegedly posed as Dogs will be charged.
I don't know. I hope they find the right guy, whether it's Daryl or not. And of course, I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Now, we reached out to the Kitsap County auditor after that update. He says
willing to be proven wrong.
Retired. We made several attempts to reach out to Dogs for comment. So far, we haven't heard back.
No, Dogs, sue that man.
Cairo 7 News.
Yeah, he can't admit that he was wrong. Well, it seems sus to me. I'm willing to be proven wrong, but I don't know. No, fucking, you're gonna get sued, dude, and you deserve it. What a piece of shit. A city manager apparently indicted and tried to get away on a yacht. She did not get very far.
Tales today about the bizarre arrest of Sausalito's new city manager over the weekend. 53-year-old Elaine Forbes is accused of trying to steal a yacht and breaking into other vessels, doing damage. ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporter Cornell.
Oh, it wasn't even her yacht?
Sausalito with this story. Cornell.
Hey, the arrest of Sausalito city manager has been the talk of the town and the yacht harbor here. There is sympathy and disbelief. A family spokesperson says Elaine Forbes was having a mental health crisis.
She had the horn going, she had the windshield wiper going, the spotlight going.
Captain Bill Aubrey.
Oh, shut up, Roger Waters.
Sausalito City Manager Elaine Forbes was arrested early Saturday on board the 66-foot Lisa Marie. Authorities say she broke into the yacht and manipulated the controls as if she was trying to steal it. Aubrey called 911 when he discovered Forbes in the wheelhouse.
Told her in no uncertain circumstances to get off the boat, and then she looked at me with a smile on her face and she said, "Good morning." And she was very friendly.
I came down here and the police met me at the boat, and we went onto the boat and we discovered unbelievable chaos and havoc on my boat.
Andy Cunningham says this is the damage Forbes allegedly did on board her vessel located on the same dock.
She took all of my clothes, and she apparently tried them on. I don't really know, but they were all inside out. There was a jar of maraschino cherries on the counter that she had opened and dumped half of them into a shoebox. She had clearly drunk a whole lot of alcohol on the boat, about 4 bottles of our wine.
The Marin County Sheriff's Department says a missing persons report had been filed on Forbes Friday, just hours before her arrest. On Thursday, the Sausalito City Council approving a leave of absence for Forbes, who had been on the job for only 3 weeks.
Elaine Forbes, who is a highly respected public servant, had a mental health crisis.
Family spokesperson Sam Singer said Forbes had been in the process of a divorce from her longtime partner, Angela Cavijo, clerk of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. Singer says she was living near where her arrest took place.
She does, in fact, have and live on a houseboat. So in her mental health crisis, she may have believed that she was on her houseboat, but just didn't recognize it wasn't hers.
Forbes is the former director of the Port of San Francisco. She resigned her post after 9 years last September, giving this reason.
I'm tired. I want a job with fewer than 280 employees. I don't want to run a port city anymore. But I sure did these last 9 years.
City of Sausalito says its thoughts are with Elaine Forbes. She remains in the Marin County Jail. She's scheduled to be arraigned Tuesday morning. We're live in Sausalito tonight. Cornell Bernard, ABC.
Yeah, thoughts and sympathies to the white woman having a mental break, breaking into a yacht. No thoughts and sympathies to the dude with a machete that was probably having some kind of mental break. Got shot by the cops in the ass. Or the dude with an AR that was probably having a mental break and got beaten to death by the cops, possibly. Depends on what level of the caste system you're in here in the United States. Yeah, who hasn't mistaken that yacht for their own yacht? Come on. Some boats and automobiles. Let's do some planes. Hope no one has any flights booked over the next little bit. Airplane in Houston crashing into a home.
Crashed into a home in Fort Bend County. Happened on Kitty Hawk near Fulshire Gaston Road. That's in the Fulshire area. ABC 13's Liliana Pearson is on the scene right now. Good morning, Liliana. And what do we know so far?
I think it was yesterday.
Good morning, Jeff. We know that this is happening in the Covey Trail neighborhood. You're able to see across this retention pond that we're able to get a little bit of a glimpse of the airplane that landed in this person's backyard and even up on their roof a little bit. Now, Covey's Trail neighborhood, this is a private neighborhood and it surrounds a private landing strip as well. Right now, it's unclear if this...
It looks like the pilot suffered only minor injuries, which is
was trying to end up in another location. I was able to speak off camera with the property owners here. They tell me that this crash is currently under investigation right now, so they weren't quite ready to speak on camera or to let us get video from the ground over there. But what one of those homeowners did tell me, she says that she was in bed this morning when that plane struck her home. She says it was so loud that it sounded like a thunderclap and that she jumped up out of bed. However, she did say that the pilot is okay. We're being told by first responders that they only had minor injuries.
Yeah, honestly, not a lot of damage to the house.
It's okay. Her words to me is that
you might be able to fix that that plane up.
Fix a person. She says that she's talked to the pilot's wife, who was very glad to hear that he was okay as well. But right now, they're just.
It looks like one of those that you assemble out of a box anyways. It probably only needs a couple of parts replaced.
Airplane landed.
Oh, the frame you think's bent? Yeah, that's possible.
A lot of questions that we're trying to figure out here today. We're going to be asking them to the appropriate authorities. As soon as we have that information, we'll come back to you with more. I'm Liliana Pearson, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Because I think that's what those planes are, right? They come in like a little kit and you assemble them yourself. From a little plane to a big plane. Ironic, I haven't seen Donnie Darko in like 25 years. I don't remember how it ended. I just remember Tears for Fears. I hear Tears for Fears. You need a pilot's license, don't you? But yeah, like those are like backyard put together planes. I'm surprised you haven't. You're sowing the seeds of love over here. I don't remember I think I remember liking it. But for some reason, I also kind of confuse it with Bubba Hotep. I think I watched them around the same time. And I don't think the movies have anything to do with each other. Not even in the same genre. Don't ask me about what Bubba Hotep was about either. I don't fucking remember. Done a lot of drugs since I've seen both of those movies. Big Ben, did I tell you good evening? A month or two ago, we did a story about an engine coming off of a cargo plane. And it was a UPS plane, wasn't it? I believe this is the same airport, Louisville Airport. A cargo plane scraping the runway.
Well, scary scenes at CVG last night after a cargo plane's landing attempt led...
Oh, no, this is in Cincinnati. I'm sorry. I thought it was in Louisville. This is Cincinnati's airport, which is in Kentucky. The Cincinnati, Ohio airport is in Kentucky, just so you guys know.
Well, scary scenes at CVG last night after a cargo plane's landing attempt led pilots to declare an emergency. Viewers sending us this video.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty scary stuff. So this is a Kalitta Air cargo plane scraping its tail on the runway as it came in for a landing. Now, this all happened last night around 8 p.m. Witnesses tell us that Boeing 777 had to abort the landing, which is what you're seeing here, and then come back around and try again. It then had to abort the second attempt before coming around a third time and then eventually landing safely. We have reached out to CVG for comment, but have not heard back.
Well, at least it wasn't takeoff. Wow. The wreckage of a 74-year-old plane crash. Oh, Oregon gal. Holy shit, ma'am. You did not have to do that. Oh my God. Oregon gal is going to make me cry. Oh, thank you. Was it just because I stopped doing horrendous stories? Media Winch, welcome in. Good to see you, darling. Oh, yeah, I will absolutely give Curiouser some money to go to the dispensary tomorrow. Get us some food and some weeds. Oh. I really don't want to say anything, but like that, you have no clue how much that helps me out right now, actually. It's my own fault because I've been going hard on social media, trying to get the Facebook and the Instagram and the TikTok going. I'm not even going to say his name. I am never going to cover that motherfucker on my stream. Well, I guess unless he kills somebody. I just do not give a shit about streamer drama. I thought about doing like, has everyone noticed there is a coordinated effort to bash Hassan? And there's even accounts I never thought that I would see, like the God account. Did they pay you to say that about Hassan? Because it sounded exactly like every other lib account that's been attacking Hassan. I don't even like Hassan. I don't have an opinion one way or another just because I've never really watched him. I feel the need to take up for him because it seems like all the worst people are attacking him. They said that he had on like a Chairman Mao jacket, and I'm like, that jacket probably cost more than like any car I've owned, and you're gonna call him Chairman Mao? Really? Because that looked like a nice... I wish somebody had looked that up. That jacket was probably worth fucking thousands of dollars. 07, I did tell you, good evening, welcome in. Thank you for following. And I don't, like, he might have fucking wore it on purpose to break brains for all I know. And people are sharing out that clip of him talking about, like, people understand that you get more traction by saying outrageous things, right? He bought the jacket in China. Okay, never mind. Okay. Oh, but it was like a high fashion Chinese jacket. See, this is why I just don't even give a shit. Like, and once again, it's not that I have anything for or against Hassan. I just don't. It seems like a lot of smears. I don't want anyone to be the face of socialism or any kind of a social movement because it's not about individual people, especially not some fucking millionaire in LA. No offense to Hassan. It's about a movement. It's about policy. That's one of the reasons why I don't really engage in conversation about personalities. But I almost did the story about him just because it's good social media fodder, because people are talking about him. And that's probably one of the reasons why it's amplified. He gets clicks and views. Again, no value judgment on him one way or another. And also, like, this is completely off topic. I watched, it was Matty Balls. If you guys follow Matty Balls on YouTube, does great video essays, and he had one on Michael Jackson. I think it's relatively new in the last day or two. And it was reflecting on the psychological state of Michael. And one of the things that he said inside of the video was like, would Michael have been the star, the absolute perfect perfectionist on stage? And I'm paraphrasing. Don't hold Matty Balls accountable for me butchering this. Like if Joe Jackson hadn't beat the shit out of him as a kid, right? Like that absolute perfection and the beatings shaped who Michael was. Would he have been the major superstar had Joe Jackson not beat the shit out of him? And that goes back to one of the things a history teacher said to me in college one time was like, everything is complicated. History is fucking complicated because we have all these great men that have these great writings. But they had these great writings because they owned slaves that allowed them to have the time to muse and get the education. If they had to work their own fucking fields, they wouldn't have been able to achieve these writings. So we have to put this in context, like, not saying that slavery is a good thing, but we wouldn't have some of the greatest works of literature without it. We wouldn't have had Michael Jackson without the intense abuse that he went through. And everything's complicated, and people aren't good or bad. They're a whole bundle of a lot of different things, and you gotta take the good with the bad, and it's more nuanced. So many horrible people are just failed art students, Ben Shapiro. As for the USSR, I try to not talk about communism or socialism or capitalism. I try to, all economies are mixed economies, and it's to what degree we're mixed, and certain segments of our economy need to be owned by the state and operated for the benefit of the government of the people. Like, I'm from Eastern Kentucky. I have no idea why some private company or person was allowed to own the coal in the ground. It should have been mined for the benefit of the people in the region, and we should have shared in the wealth. Same thing with oil. Our country should run our oil reserves and our drilling for the people. But then other industries, like I am convinced that manufacturing, and the government has to step in and do this, I'm convinced manufacturing should be ran as a worker co-op. The government should take over Ford or Chrysler, or whatever it's called now, and give it to the workers of Ford. Other workers aren't ever going to offshore your job. They should be run democratically, because manufacturing is a national security risk. And it's also an economic risk, so we should take over these gigantic companies and let the workers own them. Oh yeah, Joe Jackson was incredibly abusive. Michael's talked about it, like using the buckle end of a belt to beat him and shit. Flash, were you here the other night when we did the Nazi fight? I don't think you were, because it was early in the show. I think you came along a little bit later. We did the Nazi fight at the commemoration ceremony for the failed assassination attempt. I am not advocating, I think you realize this, Byronic, and I'm not accusing you or trying to defend myself or anything. It is horrible what he did to that child. It is, no one should have to suffer abuse, and as the biggest Michael Jackson fan, I would rather Michael Jackson lived longer and had a good life, as opposed to, if that sacrificed some of the great songs we experienced, so be it. And it's another reason why, I'm so, you say all these people were able to write these great works of art because they didn't have to toil away in the factories or in the fields themselves. I want everyone to have that access. Imagine what kind of works of art we can experience if everyone had the ability to be able to produce whatever kind of creative output they want. If they had the social safety net to be able to do it. Imagine the way we could explore the cosmos or possibly cure cancer. the whole idea that the cure for cancer could have, died multiple times over inside the head of some slave in India is not outlandish. Well, hey, Media Winch, and that's what Michael Jackson said about getting. I believe him about that. I'm 100%. Michael never hurt a child. He said he would rather hurt himself than ever hurt a child. And I believe him on that one. Okay, anyway, tangent over. Let's get through these last couple of stories here. A 74-year-old aviation mystery has been solved.
Missing for 74 years, this was the moment the search for a piece of aviation history finally paid off.
Oh, stop! Oh my God! Is that a plane? That's a plane.
There, in the waters off Puerto Rico, 2,000 feet below.
Seeing their faces, that was cool.
And that iconic Pan Am logo.
Oh my God, there's writing. It's her.
The Discovery Channel team had just found Clipper Endeavor.
So this plane was coming here to New York, right?
Yeah, to what's now JFK, and it was Good Friday. Yeah, people were flying up here from Puerto Rico for the Easter weekend.
It was April 11th, 1952. Pan Am Flight 256 had just left San Juan, Puerto Rico, when they suddenly lost 2 engines and crashed. But in 1952, there were no flight attendant safety briefings.
People did not know where the exits were. They didn't know where flotation devices were.
52 of the 69 people on board died.
Of the 69.
And the Discovery team was offered an advanced autonomous underwater drone used for surveying gas and mineral fields.
That's a plane. Whoa! That's a plane. Look at that. Oh my God.
The haunting images of the final resting place for 52 people and a crash that changed aviation safety forever as the government soon ordered pre-flight safety briefings.
This is the only grave marker that those people will really likely ever have. And so it's important to remember that debt that we owe them.
A piece of American history no longer lost at sea. Tom Costello, NBC News, New York.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay up.
Hey, you shut the fuck up, Tom Llama.
NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
That was like a llama trifecta, wasn't it? That was the third time I've told him to shut the fuck up. Still doing an aviation story here. The Supreme Court is set to rule on a case involving a 6-pack of beer. Light one up, tip one back.
The Supreme Court says it'll hear a case on whether an airplane was improperly seized over a 6-pack of beer. In 2012, pilot and private airline owner Ken Jope was set to fly a passenger to an Alaskan village that prohibits alcohol. But before takeoff, state troopers searched the plane and found beer the passenger was bringing to her husband. Jope denied knowing about the beer, but officers reported at least one 6-pack was visible. They charged Jope and his passenger with knowingly bringing alcohol to a dry village, and he was sentenced to 3 days in jail and a $1,500 fine. Then last April, the Alaska Supreme Court ruled the state could seize his $95,000 airplane. Now Jope says the seizure violates the 8th Amendment. Let's bring in ABC News.
He's correct.
And professor at Hofstra University, James Sample, for more on this. Hi, James.
The 4th Amendment.
The case is taking the question of whether the punishment fits a crime to a whole new level.
Yeah, absolutely, Diane. You wouldn't think that a matter involving a 6-pack of beer would result in 14 years of litigation and now all the way up to the Supreme Court, which will review this case this fall. But that's exactly where we are. We're talking about Ken Jope, now 80.
This is America.
He always wanted to be a pilot. He'd been in the Air Force as a mechanic working on B-52s, and he became what's often referred to in Alaska as a bush pilot, in essence working as a combination courier, ambulance, medevac, and passenger transporter in remote areas of Alaska. And because he transported this individual with the 6-pack of beer to a dry village, he spent, as you said, 3 days in jail and paid a $1,500 fine.
Okay, it's a dry village. The county I grew up in was a dry county. We could still have beer personally. Like I could go to the city, which was wet, and buy a 6-pack. I personally have that beer. That's my personal possession. What does a dry village have to do with fucking anything? You don't sell alcohol. How can you prohibit somebody having alcohol? It makes absolutely no sense to me.
But the state of Alaska wants to use its forfeiture rules, criminal forfeiture, to take away his $95,000 Cessna airplane. And the question under the 8th Amendment is whether that it constitutes an excessive fine. Now, the Supreme Court has really only weighed in
Air DUI.
Excessive fine one time and in its history. And so this case will, in essence, present a matter not of first impression, but very, very close to first impression, which we don't actually get that often in constitutional
I think it's a legal seizure.
Whether the punishment,
the Fourth Amendment,
the law that was broken, or the actual action itself.
Really good question. And it basically boils down to a fork in the road. Should the fine be measured against the wrong that this individual did? Should the judge looking at this...
He didn't do anything wrong.
And who noted, by the way, at sentencing that he had a, quote, stellar and totally clean criminal record. First-time offender, misdemeanor charge. Or should the crime be measured against the overall harm that exists or that can be projected onto the entire state by virtue of Alaska's very serious concerns about alcohol abuse and the choices that some of the villages in Alaska have made to be in...
I get it. I forget that when you live in really northern areas where you don't get a lot of daylight, or you get weird daylight at weird times of the year and shit, you're very prone to depression. The depression hits way harder when you're in a remote area of Alaska, so I can understand the concerns about alcoholism among people with depression. I get that. I really do. I can't imagine they ban guns in Alaska, do they?
Should the crime be measured against the overall harm that exists or that can be projected onto the entire state by virtue of Alaska's very serious concerns about alcohol abuse and the choices that some of the villages in Alaska have made to be, in essence, dry counties or villages? The question really boils down to whether or not it's that individualized harm or the overall harm that he's responsible for.
What are the strongest arguments you expect from both sides here?
I think the strongest argument for Alaska, their case is not frivolous, is that this is a serious issue that the
It seems incredibly frivolous.
Cases like this and decided to impose serious charges, serious fines, and that this airplane was, in essence, an instrumentality of the crime. In his case, the strongest argument is that this $95,000 airplane is grossly disproportional to the severity of his actions involving a 6-pack of beer, and that he already paid his due, that he spent 3 days in jail, he paid a $1,500 fine. So we'll
3 days in jail and $1,500 seems fucking excessive.
James, what's the potential impact of this ruling?
Well, the impact could be significant nationwide if, in fact, no matter how the court decides it, because it will, in essence, provide guideposts for the severity of fine and forfeiture as a criminal consequence.
All right, James Sample, always great to have your analysis. Thank you.
Flabbergasted by that. I can't wait to see your guys' opinion on this. Silent, welcome in. Quesadilla. Shelly, did I tell you good evening? Good to see all you good people. I want to see the chat's reaction to this. Because I'm assuming 10 out of 10 times my chat is going to go against the homeowner association. But what happens when the person the homeowner association is coming after is a really annoying social media influencer?
This is our top story trending on newsforjax.com tonight. A homeowners association
In Florida
did approve a vote for a hefty fee to help pay for the legal fees to remove a local influencer from a home she inherited. The 28-year-old took ownership of that house after her father passed away.
She was his caretaker in a 55 and older community. News4Jax reporter Ariel Schiller spoke with a woman and her neighbors about what happened and what comes next.
A legal battle between a Jacksonville influencer and her HOA is going to continue. The HOA here at Arbor Mill just approved a $155,000 assessment fee to pay for legal fees. And that $155,000 is going to be split amongst the residents. Each resident will have to pay $1,000 as a result.
They allowed 155 people to think that they had a decision in the vote, but it was the 5 board members who spoke for the whole community.
Bethany Michelle has been fighting this legal battle for several years. She inherited her father's home when he passed away, but since the home is in a 55 and up community.
Guys, freedom at Arbor Mill. Your home at freedom at Arbor Mill. It has a homeowners association. I don't think that's very much freedom. This is like us saying that we're a free country, but you can't take a goddamn 6-pack of beer to Alaska.
Home is in a 55 and up community. The HOA is saying she can't stay since she's under 55. I mean, I know you were a caregiver for your father until he passed away. I mean, you know, I know this house has a lot of sentimental value for you, too.
And not only that, but how many people between the age of 20 and 30 can actually become a homeowner these days? It's nearly impossible to become a homeowner, and the fact that
I don't know what kind of influencer she is. She doesn't seem that annoying. I thought they were trying to get rid of her because she was doing content or something. They're not. They're trying to get rid of her because she's not 55. So I think I'm on her side here. Now, I don't know. It says you have to be 55. It'd be kind of shitty to force her to sell the home. You would think if there's some sort of board, they could make an exception, a carve out for her or something. I'm on her side.
between the age of 20 and 30 can actually become a homeowner these days. It's nearly impossible to become a homeowner, and the fact that he worked to set me up with a situation where I own a home and I was told I would be allowed to stay.
So we weren't allowed inside the HOA meeting, but we did stand outside and wait for Bethany to come and tell us the results. But while we were waiting outside, we did hear parts of the meeting where we heard some people who were in favor of keeping Bethany in her home, but there were also people who were in favor of keeping this a 55 up community and having that fee be assessed. So it kind of seems like there's, like you said, people on both sides of this issue.
Very passionate. No matter what side they're on.
Why? Why would you be passionate? Why would anybody be passionate about wanting to kick this young lady out of a house? Jesus. What is wrong with our society?
They are very, very passionate. And they're allowed to be, because so am I.
William Balthazar is a neighbor of Bethany's.
As a person who have kids, I don't believe that this is the right thing to do to her, to just kick her out. And take her out. And the majority of the people here disagree with this.
Gotcha.
There are very few people that are really pushing it.
Okay, if you want her out and you want to enforce the rules, then pay her market value plus 10%. Do it. Don't fucking hire lawyers and pay legal fees. Pay her the market value of the house plus 10%. I think that's fair. What about you guys?
Majority of the people here disagree with this.
Gotcha.
There are very few people that are really pushing it.
Anything you would say to your neighbors?
Love y'all. Even the ones that don't like me, love you. I will take care of you. And you will live the rest of your life watching me thrive, whether you're happy with it or not. I ain't going nowhere.
The Arbor Mill HOA declined to comment on the lawsuit or whether it considered making an exception in Bethany's case. In Jacksonville, Ariel Scheller, Channel 4, the local station.
Yeah, I think I came out with the perfect solution. Pay the woman. You don't want her there, pay her. Take the house off her hands. Torchy, did I tell you good evening? Yeah, of course, Florida, in a community called Freedom. We're having an argument about whether a woman can stay in a house she owns. This fucking country, man. A Baltimore woman, I think she also inherited a house, and for some reason she received a water bill that belonged to the entire neighborhood.
What should have been a fresh start after losing her father has turned into a financial nightmare.
A Baltimore woman says that when she inherited her childhood home, she also inherited a more than $200,000 water bill. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor reports she insists that debt isn't hers to pay.
Going through the death of my father, and I thought the house would be the easy part, but it clearly isn't.
Instead, Christina Moore says she inherited something she never expected. Not just her late father's.
They've got a watermark on this footage. I mean, who are you aiming this watermark at? Me? I'm like the only guy that does local news coverage like this. Really?
Instead, Christina Moore says she inherited something she never expected. Not just her late father's Northeast Baltimore home, but a more than $200,000 water bill she says she didn't even know existed. A debt she first learned about back in April. Moore finding a city notice taped to the front door warning water service could be shut off within 45 days over the.
How is it not? Like, I've been behind like a month and they shut that shit off. I've never been behind $200,000 and they still gave her 45 days.
Or warning water service could be shut off within 45 days over the unpaid balance.
It's overwhelming because my property has no value to it.
So how does this even happen? Well, Moore believes that the problem dates back decades, way back to when the home was built in the 70s, along with a single master water meter that apparently serves the entire community. In total, 37 homes make up the Springwood Estates, and yet the water bill is only tied to one address.
I actually thought initially that it wouldn't be my responsibility to pay, so I contacted the HOA.
And we provided the covenants and restrictions that clearly state that the HOA is in fact responsible for paying it.
Lisa Giovanni is Moore's realtor. She says it's not unusual for condos, apartments, or multiple homes in an HOA community to be served by a single water meter.
Yeah, fuck HOAs.
She says she's never seen the bill attached to a single home.
So our whole thing is just put the address for this meter back with the HOA. I don't understand how they can hold her liable for 37 properties.
Today, Fox 45 calling the HOA president directly.
Is the HOA responsible for paying everyone's water bill in the Springwood Estates?
Regina Johnson telling us she wasn't comfortable being recorded, although she did confirm the HOA is in charge of collecting payments and settling the water bill every month. But she couldn't say how the balance grew to more than $200,000 and declined to answer further questions.
Lisa and I went to DPW and pulled the lien sheet. They're telling me my property is responsible for this bill, and I pretty much can't sell it until it is paid in full.
After months of back and forth with DPW and city leaders, Moore receiving this email from a senior advisor within Council President Zeke Cohen's office, stating the HOA had been approved for a payment plan, but reiterating the lien isn't going anywhere until the debt is gone.
What do you make of that response?
I feel like,
the fuck?
I mean, this is my childhood home. I graduated from Morgan State. Like I work in the city, so I feel let down by the city. I think it's sad.
It's been a bit. And here's my question to Baltimore City. How would you like it if it was happening to you?
Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
You wouldn't like it very much, would you?
Fox 45.
Hey, my name is JustinFREAKIN. I do a show called The Troll Patrol Live. You're actually on it right now. We were just watching a clip about a homeowners association charging a woman like a $200,000 bill. You guys have this giant watermark on the video. It's very annoying. Are you doing it because of people like me?
I'm not really sure. I can look into that for you though. It was on like another show.
It was on the YouTube clip. It was on the YouTube clip about the story of the woman like that had the $200,000 water bill.
Mhm.
See, I'm like a news aggregate show. I watch all these different news clips.
Oh, you're saying on our YouTube channel.
Yes. You guys are the only people I've ever seen use that obnoxious watermark on your video.
Okay. Yeah, we always put our watermarks on our YouTube videos.
Why?
Because some people ended up taking our stuff, I guess, apparently. So we've just started.
Well, yeah. People like me do that because like I'm a news aggregate and I play videos, but like it's fair use, right?
I'm not completely sure.
It is. It is. It absolutely is. I know the copyright law, but like I understand. Like I give the news stations credit and everything. As I said, Spectrum is probably trying to fuck with me. One up, tip one back. Trying to fuck with me. One up, tip one back.